Taylor, who conspicuously does not have up his banner, and I'm trying to figure out why, but he didn't want to answer me when I asked him at the beginning. So what's going on, JT?
What's going on, man?
What's up? You're not doing for no reason? What's going on? You're not going to promo it?
I don't know. It's not coming up for some reason. I gotta straighten it out.
Technically,
I don't know what's going on. I got to straighten it out. I don't know. I tried it, and it is what it is.
You have been technically challenged. My brother.
No, I'm not technically challenged. I'm where I'm supposed to be, but it's not for whatever reason. It was there. It's been there, and all of a sudden now it's not there. And it is what it is. I don't care. Whatever.
You should care. You paid for that, brother.
On with the show. On with the show for now.
On with the show. All right. So I want to get into some news of what's going on in the world of sports. Not much news, but the biggest news is one of your compatriots, a man that I believe you watched, or at least I know you know of, passed away yesterday. Yeah. And there's some good things and some bad things we can say about the individual. I'm gonna try to keep it good, even though I've read and I knew of some negative things that went on with this individual. But I want to focus in on the positive as much as possible. Jim Brown, the activist, the football player, passed away. I believe he was age 86, 87. Yeah. Your thoughts on Jim Brown? I know you may have watched him maybe before he retired and got into movies. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way. Jim Brown, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, probably one of the best football players. He only played 9 seasons. 9 seasons, and he's the only player in NFL history to as a rookie to become the MVP of the NFL. Only player ever. 9 Pro Bowl appearances, if I'm not mistaken. 8 out of his 9 seasons, he was an all pro. So he's a hell of a football player. He was a hell of a football player, and a very strong advocate for the unheard and unseen. Let me put it that way. Okay, I'll put it that way.
Okay. So I'm driving home yesterday. I'm hearing all these tributes to the man and his accolades on the court. I mean, not the court, on the field. His role when it came to how the African-American athlete, the black athlete, needed to take a stand, because I believe it was one of his former teammates. I can't remember his name right now, but he said in a conversation that Jim told him and the other black players, we're not marching, we're not sitting in, but we got to use our platform to make things better and bring attention to the youth on how to be. It wasn't just about being black, white, or whatever. Of course, that had something to do with it at the time, because it was all about the African American or the black athlete. At the time, Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay had been stripped of the title, and they took his passport and all these other things. Some of the stories that were shared about him. And Jim Brown and others, Lou Alcindor and other folks, called a meeting of the NEIU, I believe it was, or NIEU, something like that. Changed to the B because the N stood for Negro, and they wanted to change the name. But Brown's stardom or fame that he received. He wanted to translate it into community activism. And 9 years, I think Barry did 9 years, if I'm not mistaken. Barry Sanders, that is. But the impact that the man had on the game, and as an ambassador of the game, it's very well known. It's well known. Jim Brown is synonymous with the NFL. Jim Brown is synonymous with the Cleveland Browns. Oddly enough, last name of the team, but that's not how the team was named. But there are also some negatives associated with Jim Brown.
Let's not
that
go.
I learned
Let's not
more
go.
about.
Let's
That I
not go
learned
there.
more about.
Let's not go that negative.
Well, look, listen. I know what I'm doing. I got this.
Let's not go negative.
I got this. Thank you. Some things I learned that I was very shocked about. Some things I kind of knew about, but shocked about. And the thing that I learned, or I didn't learn, I came to terms with a long time ago. Athletes, actors, other people that we look up to, that we see on TV, that we come across in life, that we feel are heroes, might not always be heroes. They're great athletes. They're great actors. They're great, whatever they are. And the impact they have in their industry transcends across the globe. You can't take away the positives that they've done, but you also can't take away the negatives that they've done.
Well, let me put it this way, and you get me lit up.
Well, hold on.
We're supposed to be celebrating Jim Brown. It's supposed to be a celebration.
I was celebrating him. I did not say I was celebrating him. I also said I wasn't going to talk down about him.
Here we go.
I need you.
Here we go.
Hey, relax.
No, I'm not going to relax. Because if you do what I think you're going to do,
Jerry,
I'm asking you to relax. I'm out.
Just because you don't like.
If you think I do what you're going to do,
Jerry, I'm asking you very nicely, very politely. This is my show. I don't come on your show and tell you how to run your show. I'm asking you nicely to let me finish what I'm saying. I don't tell you how to produce your statements or anything like that. Don't come on here and do the same to me. If you cannot do that, if you can't just hold your peace because you don't like what I'm saying, you're free to go. I'm not going to hold you here. But don't do that to me. All right, he left. Not a problem. Anyway, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to uphold everybody to a godlike standard, okay? As I was saying before I got interrupted, I look at everything that is done, and I don't judge a person because I don't want to be judged. All I want to do is enjoy what happens on the field. And because Jerry couldn't let me finish, he missed, or he's going to miss, the positive things I'm saying. How you have individuals that do bad things, but make a positive impact on your life does not change the positive things they've done. I'm going to read something that a friend of mine who actually had interactions with Jim Brown while he was with the NFL, my friend, and it's fine. It's not a bad thing. It's just we are human. Jeez. He says, so it was 2000, I think he meant 2006. We did 2106. And I was at the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. And I was out there working a few events with the NFL auctions. For this event, it was a closed session where all the NFL legends came in to sign footballs, hats, towels, and other memorabilia that would later get auctioned off for charity. Being my first event with the auction team, I didn't know each legend and had a specific number of items they negotiated to sign. They got a few gift cards at the end of their troubles. Not much, really. There and there, about an hour or so. So, with my size, most of the older and former players thought I was someone that played with or reminded them of someone. So they all naturally gravitated towards me. I was one of the guys for the weekend, except for Jim Brown. He could have cared less about me, but the time this event kicked off, I knew most of the players that walked in. I'm talking to people and explaining the process. We have 3 different signing days and spent about 6 to 8 hours each day before we switched over to do specific events for the Hall of Fame game. This was the year the Colts were supposed to play Green Bay, but they had an issue with the field. So my friend was a huge Browns fan and was giddy all over the fact that this was the day Brown was coming in. He had a hat that he wanted to get signed. He was nervous and didn't want to approach him. I was like, give me the hat. I've been one of those guys all week. I'll just slide it over to him and he hooked it up, right? My friend was like, I don't know. We usually wait until we catch them alone. I'm like, it's cool. What's the worst thing that can happen? So he was like, bet. It's the last day of the signing. We should be good. I grabbed the hat, went back to assisting players. Then Brown walks in. I'm like, here's my chance. Brown's an intense person anyways, but he was already pissed when he walked in with his wife. She was about my age, consoling him, who was in his late 70s at the time. He was fussing. I approached him. Welcome, Mr. Brown. I appreciate you coming out. Let me take you to your table and we'll get you started. He was like, okay, thank you. Let's get this started so I can leave. I started passing him everything he was supposed to sign. His wife walked away to talk to the staff, and it looked like we were good. We knocked out the football, some pictures, I believe, a towel and something, and then we had 3 hats. I slid the hats his way, and then the one I had. At this moment, the air was sucked out of the room, and everything went into slow motion. You would have thought I gave him a $100 bill with my face on it. He was like, what is this blank here? Who do you think you are? I only agreed to sign X items. To be fair, I didn't know he was counting. He definitely wasn't a fool. Cue foreboding music. Yep, I messed up big time. This man grabbed his cane and shot up out of his seat. It took him a minute to sit down and get comfortable. I made him forget all about his arthritis. Now we're eye to eye and he just goes in. I am left speechless. What can I say other than my bad? But he wasn't having it. His wife runs over. Baby, let's go, to him, not to me, just in case I lost you. Then he's like, they always do this. They just take and don't give back, and it'd be for your own kind. My heart jumped out of my chest. Other than being devastated, his was like, it's okay. He's just a little cranky. She grabbed my hand and was like, we're good. He jumped in. No, we're not. I'm assuming she used her wifely powers when they got back to the room because I didn't hear anything else about the incident. My supervisor talked to me and explained how the process worked. I tossed the hat back to the guy. Yeah, we can't ask for autographs while we're working. Brown side-eyed me the rest of the time I was there. It's cool, though. Michael Irvin invited me to the VIP event, but I turned him down for obvious reasons. Look, that's a true-to-life story that one of my buddies that I know did. Your heroes might not always be, that heroic person that you think. People have bad days and good days. They do. And you can't always appease everyone. As you can tell, my co-host, he couldn't even wait to hear the story or hear where I was going before he went off. He has a problem with his anger and control because he can't control what I'm doing on my show. I'm simply trying to get to the story. He doesn't know how to build up stuff. I get it. But Mr. Brown, understandably so, he said, I only agree to sign so many things. I'm not going to worry about it. And then my buddy slides the hat. You got to be more careful. You got to be. All I can tell you is this. I get starstruck sometimes. I do. I really do. I believe that people are people. From the lowest level person that works an event to the highest level person at an event. You are a person. In some cases, you got to know your audience. You got to know your audience, and you got to know, hey, he's already cranky. He's already, not wanting to be there. And the line that gets me, I'm not going to tell y'all who shared the story, but it'd be from your own people. That's the part that gets me, man. Because it's true. It is so true. We can talk about things all day, about how this is unfair, how that's unfair, how somebody's doing this. But when you don't even have patience with your own people, or you don't give your own people the I'm not gonna say respect, but the level of, I guess I gotta say respect. Yeah, I gotta say respect. The level of respect that they deserve or whatever. Some people get a little cranky. Some people get a little upset. I got it. My buddy is a great person. Jim Brown is a great person, or was a great person. Some things that we know about, it's documented. So no need to get into it. Jim Brown left professional football at the age of 29 to pursue an acting career. Was he a great actor? Probably not. Was he a good actor? Damn sure was. Cast in the Dirty Dozen. I mean, The Dirty Dozen is a very, very, very popular older movie. And to be one of your first jobs as an actor, come on. His stardom got him there. His abilities kept him there. And his activism made him a lovable and indelible person in the community. So I'm not going to talk about all the things that go with the other side, because that's not what it's about. We do celebrate the entire person, not just the accomplishments. But Mr. Brown, he was a very, very important figure in the world of football, in the world of activism. Now, do you agree with the way he did things or some things he said? Probably not. Some people don't agree with it because it's not always, or it never fit everyone's way of thinking. The way he went about things was different than the way Malcolm X went about things, different than the way Lou Alcindor went about things, different than the way Mama Lee. But they all came together to figure out a way to unite others. and to bring notice to the causes they were going in on. So we do celebrate the life of Jim Brown, and we recognize all the good things as well as the bad, because here's the perfect thing. If you've ever seen the show The Facts of Life, some of the lyrics are, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. And you have the facts of life. That's how you do it. But seeing as though I no longer have a co-host, I will be doing this draft, I guess, by myself. Interesting enough, because I'm not the way I draft is different than the way my former co-host drafts. The reason why I say that is because what he views as a possibility for a draft pick at a certain position is different than what I view as a possibility to draft pick. If you watched For No Reason on last Sunday, I asked that question. What are your criteria? And for the most part, he says right now, until you get up to the actual draft day, it's, throwing players up there to see what you can get and to see the different types of reactions, which is fine. And that's pretty much what I expected today. Obviously, that's not happening because he left. But I'm going to give you mine. And right now, I'm going to tell you, I have some receivers in the first round. However, the way the NFL has progressed or has moved, I don't see running backs being a dominant factor in fantasy anymore. So the running backs that I'm going to list in my top, 2 rounds, I might just do one, but my top 2 rounds are probably the reasons why you need a premium at running back and get them first. There are some stellar wide receivers. They really are. And wide receivers, just like the passing game in the NFL, have begun to dominate fantasy football. But you definitely need that premium running back. You definitely need them. And I'm going to tell you, at least in my first round, the running backs I list, they either take 75 to 80% of the touches, if not all. The reason why is because I believe a split time back hurts your ability to gain fantasy dominance. I really do. If your number 1 and number 2 back are splitting carries with someone else, maybe like 50-50 or 30-30-30, whatever it is, 33-33, you know, right? That hurts you. That's why Miles Sanders was never a first or second round running back. It's probably a third or fourth, but never a first. And in my opinion, a second. Because he had too many people that touched the ball between him and the end zone. Last year, he had a great year. This year, he goes to North Carolina, and he is the bell cow. Will it work? I don't know. But we'll see. Now, with that being the case, my first overall pick, and I know I have said this man is not a first overall pick in the past. I have definitely said this because I didn't like where he was playing and how he was being used. That first overall pick for me is Christian McCaffrey. I love his ability to dominate the lion's share in San Francisco. Now, I know you're going to say, you just sit up here and say you don't want to pick somebody that splits carries. And now you got one number one. Here's the difference. Christian McCaffrey will see 85% of the touches out of that backfield unless he's hurt. Why? Even if you put Elijah Mitchell in there, CMC is used as a receiver. They will throw the ball to him, even when he's not lined up at running back. Now, the other reason why I believe he's going to be the best overall fantasy player this year is because we don't know who their quarterback's going to be after or going into the season. We just don't. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, seemingly has won that job, but he had an injury in the playoffs that stopped him from going to the Super Bowl, I believe. And the wait was so long to get the surgery, don't know why, that he might not be ready for week 1. So what does San Francisco do? Instead of saying, Trey, hey, you got it, Trey. And they bring in Sam Darnold, who is familiar with CMC, who excels in a West Coast short passing offense that doesn't depend on him to be the guy. CMC's going to touch the ball. I venture to say CMC, Debo, and Kittle are going to get 90 to 95% of the touches from San Francisco's offense. That includes all the other players. Brandon Ayuk, even though they signed the 5-year, they exercised the 5-year option. Elijah Mitchell, everyone else. As long as CMC is healthy, he's going to dominate the lion's share of the touches, followed by Debo and Kittle, maybe not that far behind. All depending on who the quarterback is. We'll see. Now, here we go. My number two pick. It was supposed to be Jerry. But my number 2 pick happens. All right, look. I'm explaining this first. Okay? I'm explaining. The number 2 pick I have is a wide receiver. The reason why I have him at number 2 is because he is a baller. Straight up and down baller. But I've also noticed that this man, he's going to need somebody to step up on the other side of him. Now that his running mate has gone to a different team, he's still the number 1 option for this team he plays for. But I think he needs to learn how to get off the bump and run. I got to say my number 2 player to draft is Justin Jefferson. Offensive Player of the Year. Kirk Cousins is going to find him. Excuse me. Or he's going to find Hawkinson. The new young kid, Addison, he's going to find his way in there for sure. He's going to find his way in there for sure. But he's got to jump over 2 other players, Hawkinson and Osborne. Can he do it? Yeah. But I'm banking on the fact that Jefferson's going to get so many targets. He's going to probably see 9 to 10 targets a game, if not more. How many of those he gets, I don't know. But when you have those targets, you have opportunity. And that's all you can ask for as a fantasy player, the opportunity to make plays and get me points. Now, let's say, for argumentative sake, I chose another wide receiver at number 3. I would have to explain that, wouldn't I? I have to explain why. Well, let me explain it to you. My number 3 player, is Cooper Kupp. You're saying Cooper Kupp? Why Cooper Kupp? He's coming off injury. Listen to what I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Stafford's back. Cooper Kupp is back. Last time there was an issue with Cooper Kupp, it was first time the Rams went to the Super Bowl, and he was already over 100 receiving receptions, leading the team. Didn't have that great number 1 receiver because Robert Woods was the opposite guy. Year before, it was Odell Beckham Jr., who actually showed up and was doing well, but Cooper Kupp still got his numbers until he got hurt. Cooper Kupp was the number 1 player in fantasy last year until he got hurt. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't believe a player is demoted or downgraded because they suffered an injury. Now, the severity of the injury does play a role. It does play a role in how a player is viewed for the upcoming season, because you don't know when they're going to come back, how well they're going to do, so on and so forth. Cooper Kupp is that dude. I have him number 3. My number 4 player, listen, I thought I'd put him in number 3, but I put him in number 4 because I don't know what the team is going to look like. That's the only reason why. He would be my number 2 or he would be my number 3 if I knew what the team was going to look like. Really won't know that until July-ish, August maybe. But Austin Eckler is that guy. Austin Eckler is my number 4 pick. That's why I would pick it number 4. Because Austin Eckler represents what a running back outside of CMC. If you notice, CMC and Austin Eckler are similar. They're pass receiving running backs. They're used more so in the passing game than they are in the running game. But that's wear and tear on the body. Wear and tear. I can't sit up here and tell you that Austin Eckler isn't going to get hurt. I can't tell you that. When the word around town is you're going to have a new number 1, number 2 receiver in the rookie, which I think is pretty good, but you're getting rid of Herbert's security blanket because my guy can't stay healthy, and he has a big contract number. You get rid of the tight end. He has a big contract number. What the Chargers have done, they've backfilled. Now, the problem I think that the Chargers did was they paid Mike Williams. I think they should have paid Mike Williams. I think they should have let him walk or let him test the market and bring him back at a lower number, because eventually you're going to have to do to Mike Williams what you're about to do to your number 1 receiver. How does this help or hurt Austin Eckler? It helps Eckler because now he'll get more touches. I know, different offensive scheme with what's my man, Kellen Moore, who likes to throw to the receivers on the outside and things of that nature. But Austin Eckler is a better version of Marcus Pollard. Marcus Pollard is the older player. Of Pollard from Dallas. I forgot his first name, but Pollard from Dallas. He's a better version. Stronger, bigger, better, more experienced version. And if Pollard can do those things in that offense, I know Austin Eckler can as well. Austin Eckler, number 4. My number 5 guy. My number 5 guy isn't a shock to me, isn't a shock to anybody that understands fantasy football or football in general. However, some people will say he has a new quarterback, second year in the system, and he's older. And I tell you, regardless of those things, he's better than a younger version of him. And I'm talking about my number 5 guy is Davante Adams. Davante Adams is Mr. Consistency. People thought his numbers were going to go down when he left Aaron Rodgers to get Carr. Then they were like, okay, well, Carr and Adams have a rapport from college, but that was 8 years ago. He still produced. Now they're saying, well, Jimmy G's worse than Carr, so don't expect much. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy G is just as good as Carr. Maybe not as strong of an arm as Carr, but he will get Adams the ball like Carr. I'm just telling you right now, Jimmy G will lock onto a player. If I were a betting man, which I am sometimes, I would tell you that Michael Mayer from the Raiders that got picked up this year, he's got a big year. A late round steal for those that want to keep him as a keeper or dynasty player. I'm just telling you. The tight end is going to be the friend of Jimmy G, but also that number 1 receiver, Davante Adams, at number 5 will be. Number 6. Now, I got to go back to my running backs. The reason why I got to go back to my running backs is because I got this player sitting here. And I'm like, my co-host, he would say, oh no, he's a bum. He can't do anything. And I'm like, okay, all right. Showing your bias, per usual. And some people even might say, are you crazy, Vic, for putting him at number 6? But remember what I said. My criteria is, well, you weren't on the show, so you probably don't know because you probably didn't watch Sunday's show. But I'm looking for the player, how they're being used, and the team. My guy at number 6 is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is 80% of that offense in New York. Why not have a player like, I just had him in my head. It was another running back. Anyway, I'll get to him in a minute. Why not have a different player at number 6 other than Saquon? Well, I'll tell you, I love what the Giants have begun to do. That left tackle, when he's in there, watch how Saquon runs the ball or catches the ball. He's a linchpin to that run game and that pass game. You're saying a left tackle? Watch what I'm telling you. That last year rookie, who's a vet now, played all last year, someone was hurt. When he was in, Danny Dimes had time. Saquon Barkley had running lanes. There was a better production level on the offense completely when he was in. I can guarantee you Saquon Barkley will match or exceed last year's totals. They franchised him. That's the first thing. They franchised him. That made him mad. Running backs are not getting the type of money that they did in the past because of the life expectancy of a running back in the NFL. It's better off to not have been picked in the first second or third, maybe even the third round as a running back than it is to get picked in the first round, like Bijan Robinson, unless you're in a split backfield situation. Why? 5 years of your career, if you're really good, are tied to that team regardless of what you said. Most kids come out of college at 22, 23 in the NFL. That puts them at 26, 27, 28. By NFL standards, 29, 30 is when it's time to say bye-bye. So if you're telling me at your first contract, which is 5 years from the first round, and they can franchise you 2 more years, and you're good, you're not getting paid the type of money that you deserve. So it's better not to get drafted in the first round if you're a running back. But Saquon Barkley's in that boat right now because of that. And no one wants to pay him, and he's going to turn up and turn out. I promise you, you cannot go wrong if you pick Saquon Barkley number 6. At number 7, I go back to the wide receivers. Actually, okay, I'm gonna say that because I just moved them in my head. I did. At number 7, Chase, Jamar Chase. Now listen, the numbers don't lie. Year 1, he saw a great deal of targets. Year 2, he was injured and was on pace to exceed year 1 targets and receptions and touchdowns, things of that nature. I have him at number 7 because I'm looking at what the Bengals are doing. The Bengals are going to have to score a lot of points because their defense is not going to be the same. It's not. They lost some key components in the secondary. You're starting 2 safeties. Well, they played 3 safeties, but you're starting 2, Bates and oh my gosh, forgot the other guy's name. Well, they're gone. So that experience to help those corners is gone too. I think Cincinnati will be in a lot of shootouts. And when you have 2 number 1 receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, you've got to consider the fact that Burrow loves Chase Leonard. That's like his brother. T. Higgins is that guy that he's going to say, you know what? You're my ace in the hole if things aren't working out with Chase. But Chase is going to get 7 to 10 targets a game. You're saying, well, you had Justin Jefferson higher, and he's going to have not as many options for Burrow like it is Chase. You say, well, they got Tyler Boyd, they got this other. Yeah, but he's only got Hockenson and Jefferson, literally, that are proven. That's why I have him not in the same area as Justin Jefferson, but Jamar Chase is my number 7. Number 8, nitty gritty. Number 8, a guy that I think is worthy of being listed, not because of last year's performance, but because of what he means to the team and what his head coach said. His head coach, new head coach, said, we're going to throw the ball to score, run the ball to win the game. That tells me that this player, if they plan to win a lot, is going to run the ball a lot. Will this player get 25 touches a game? In the run game? Probably not. But this player can also catch the ball out the backfield, but he's known more so as a plotting running back. And I'm talking about last year's number 1 preseason fantasy number 1, Jonathan Taylor. He's my number 8. Jonathan Taylor is a player that you look at and say, all right, you're going to touch the rock. Gardner Minshew or Richardson's going to come in there, and they're going to depend on you to get first downs. They don't want to risk turning the ball over. So I think Jonathan Taylor's going to touch the ball at least 20 times a game. That's passing and receiving. I really do. I think Jonathan Taylor is a guy that you look at and say, is he going to burn me again? At number 8, I don't think he's going to burn you because you didn't have him number 1. And you don't have to wait for 20 some odd picks to come back around to get your pick, your second pick. That's the only way I'll say that you'll be burned. Is that number 1 player? If Christian McCaffrey, who I have number 1, is my number 1 pick and I pick number 1, and he does not perform or he gets injured, and I'm stuck with him, and I got to wait 20 some odd picks or 19 some odd picks. Well, it's 20 something, it's 12. 12, I'm going on base 12. I'm hurt. I'm hurting. Because my number 2 player and 3 player are going to be back-to-back, but the running back caliber will decrease. And if my number 1 running back or number 1 player is not performing, I'm hurt as a fantasy player. I was in that boat last year when I had Jonathan Taylor, number 1. I thought I drafted a great team. I had to get him over Cooper Kupp in a different league, and I got burned. You got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, excuse me, yes, Jonathan Taylor, number 8. Now, excuse me, at number 9, I got to tell you, the player I have at number 9, some people say he's washed up. Some people say he's not going to be worth anything. And I say, for shame on you. For shame on you. I got the king. The king. Derrick Henry, number 9. Let me explain why I have Derrick Henry in the first round, where some people have him in the second or third round. After Kane at number 9, there's really nothing in Tennessee other than Derrick Henry. First of all, Mike Vrabel loves to run the rock. Loves it. And unless Tannehill gets hurt again, I'm not worried about Levitt's coming in and taking that job. I'm not. Tannehill has a young receiver in Treylon Burks and several other receivers, maybe not as popular, maybe not as good. And he doesn't have a star key tight end. That's key. The load will be on Derrick Henry's shoulders. Granted, Derrick Henry's not going to get, well, let me not say he's not, because he might. Derrick Henry's going to get spelled every so often, but he's going to give you enough points that he's worth the ninth overall pick, in my opinion. Number 10. Some people will say you can flip-flop these two, and until I know exactly what this team is going to do, I have him at number 10, but he could move up to 9, maybe even 8, if he's the sole back. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb did wondrous things even with Kareem Hunt in the backfield with him. What you think about that? Nick Chubb was still a 1,000-yard rusher, averaging 14, 15 rushes a game. Think about that. In a 17-game season, Nick Chubb still got over 1,000 yards on 15 carries or less per game on average. We know what can happen to Nick Chubb if he has 20, 25 carries a game. And the fact that his time was split up, he still has fresh legs and a fresh upper body. He can take the pound that's going to be needed to be that guy. Nick Chubb, as I said, for me, can jump up to 8 or past Derrick Henry number 9 because of what they plan to do with him, especially if he doesn't get a top-tier running mate. You got to remember that. Split time, I'm dropping him down a little bit. But right now, I'm keeping him where he is if I'm drafting today. Number 11 out of the 12. Some people might have another receiver here. Some people might have a tight end. I was actually thinking about putting my quarterback here. I actually didn't know putting a quarterback here. But I didn't. Because I thought about a player who fits the mold of the running back. Well, I'm saying if you don't get these guys early, they're not going to be many quality ones come second, third round, especially if you draft early in the round. Aaron Jones. Just think about it. Don't boo me, hiss me, whatever just yet. Think about it. Aaron Jones at number 11, dual threat running back with a quarterback needs to prove himself and a young wide receiving core. A.J. Dillon's back there. A.J. Dillon, just my opinion, A.J. Dillon had his audition last year to be the feature power back. He failed. My opinion. They're going to use them both again this year. But just like last year, Aaron Jones is going to be the better of the two backs. He almost led the team in receiving. He led him in rushing. He led him in touchdowns. The knock on Aaron Jones is his quarterback. You don't know what Jordan Love is going to do. I would have Aaron Jones a little higher if I had a belief in Jordan Love. But I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. And some people saying Aaron Jones over somebody like Josh Jacobs or who else? Who else is out there? Who else did I miss? Or Bijan Robinson? Listen, man. Or Tony Pollard? Let me explain something. Josh Jacobs was playing for a contract last year. Plain and simple. Will they use him the same way this year? Yes, they will. Do I think they're going to have the same production out of him? No, I do not. Josh Jacobs is not a first-round draft pick for me. He is not. Tony Pollard, no. Coming off that injury, in a system that really doesn't like to feature the running back, because now it's Mike McCarthy's system, no. Neither one of those guys. And again, some people would like to say Bijan Robinson is going to be, this great player, or he's going to have so many yards and so many. Listen, Tyler Algier isn't a scrub. Atlanta's going to be a heavy run team, yes. You draft Bijan Robinson that high because you're going to use him. But you also got to understand Bijan Robinson is in a timeshare, a major timeshare. So I can't put Bijan Robinson in the first round. Can't. Sorry. I just can't. My number 12. There's debate. Not really, because co-host isn't here. It would have been a debate. Because I don't have but what? 4 or 5 receivers in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 receivers in my top 10. Or my first round. And this one is going to upset some people. And I don't care. Because if I'm at this pick, I've got back-to-back picks. Remember that. I got back-to-back picks at number 12. Serpentine style. I look at the ability to go back-to-back and say, you know what? Both of them first rounders. In my opinion. Some people say, why are you getting this player so early? Well, because the player is that dynamic, and the player is, let me say, the player is going to provide as many points as any other position, if not more. So my last first round pick is a quarterback. No, it's not Pat Mahomes. No, it's not Josh Allen. Although it could be Josh Allen, but things are shaky in Buffalo right now. It is Jalen Hurts. I've got Jalen Hurts at my number 12. Last player taken in the first round for me, Jalen Hurts. He's running the ball for touchdowns. He's throwing the ball for touchdowns. He's averaging 5 rushes a game and 25 to 30 passes a game. I don't see that changing. I don't. He's better than any receiver you're going to get at number 12. He's better than any tight end you'll get at number 12. He's better than any running back you'll get at number 12. And again, Serpentine, you get number 13 anyway. So if you want to get a running back, or if you want to get a wide receiver, if you want to get that tight end, go ahead. But Jalen, in my opinion, is a first-round draft pick. He's a dual threat quarterback that continues to produce from the pocket and outside the pocket. I'm just telling you. He's better than Lamar, who's the dual threat quarterback, because if you get Lamar, you're not expecting a lot of passing yards. You're not expecting a lot of passing touchdowns. You're going to expect him to run. You're going to expect him to throw to the tight end. Yeah. But you're not expecting to get over 3,000 yards passing. And you might, over the past years, expect him to be hurt. Josh Allen would be here as well, but Josh Allen, there's a problem I have in Buffalo. They get a great tight end. And they got Dawson Knox. And they got Stephon. But outside of that, there is no real outside threat to help. The expectation is Cook is going to be that guy, that running back, and he can be. He can be. But I have no idea how it's going to play out. So I can't put Allen up here. But I can put Jalen Hurts at number 12. I would go into the second round, but I'm not going to. There's supposed to be 2 people here. There isn't. No matter. No issue. But what I want to tell you guys is, if you think about how your fantasy team is supposed to be structured, the structure is supposed to be based on premium players. My thought process, okay? Premium players. If a premium player is around in the second, third, fourth round, you grab him. Some people draft off need, some people draft off best available. Just like in real life, in fantasy, either you're drafting to win or you're drafting to trade so you can win. That's the way I look at it. I will draft a player that I know somebody else wants that I don't necessarily need, just so I can trade that player for a player on that person's team or a draft pick on that person's team that I want. But that's in the later rounds, right? I'm going to get my starters. My backups, they'll be my backups, but I know somebody might want one of those backups because they didn't draft that position yet, and they're left with either lesser talent or a player they really didn't want. It's all strategy. It's all strategy. I hope your drafts are going to, oh yeah, I said I was going to share. I'm going to share what I did in one of the fantasy football dynasty leagues that I'm in. It was a team that I bought as an orphan. So it didn't have that many options. I got a trade offer too. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Present. Let me share my screen with you all. And that thing is, it's got me. All right, so I'm sharing my screen with you all, right? So it says I got a trade offer. Now, on my team, we'll look at the trade offer in a second. On my team, the players were, these are the players I had: Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, and Deshaun Watson already. Okay? I had them already. I also had Jamal Williams, Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce, Cam Akers, Jerome Ford, let me go down, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuels, Darius Slayton. Let me move this down a little bit. DeAndre Carter, Nico Collins, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sky Moore, TJ Hawkinson, Mike Gesicki, Greg Deluch, or Deloach, however you want to pronounce it, Daniel Bellinger, Matt Gay, and the Chiefs defense. Now, I learned a lesson during this draft. I learned that not only were rookies available, but so were free agents. And there were a few free agents on it I wanted to draft, I wanted to get, but I was like, I guess I don't get rookies. My mistake, because around fourth round, I believe it was, I saw somebody pick up a player that I was thinking about getting. I was like, what? And then it got explained to me. But my first overall pick, because it was about six rounds, at the first round, 7th pick, first round, 11th pick. So the previous owner had 2 first-round picks. I got Anthony Richardson at number 7. I had an opportunity to get a receiver, but at the time, the receivers I wanted literally just went by. Gibbs and Algier were 1 and 2, obviously. And then they went on a runner receiver. So I got Anthony Richardson number 1. I followed that up by picking up the receiver, the best receiver I thought that was available left, which was Jalen Hyatt. If you've seen the behind the draft for the New York Giants, the Giants really wanted this guy. They traded up to get him. And to me, I think he's going to step in and be a day one starter. I really think so. Then I followed that up with my pick of Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer is a player who I told you before is a good keeper / dynasty player, especially with Jimmy G at quarterback because he's going to target him quite often. Now, I can always double up on my roster and play the 2 tight ends because Hopkinson's going to get targets from Kirk Cousins, and I believe Michael Mayer as well. I'm going to wait and see before I do that. But once I notice how many targets Mayer's going to get, I'm going to start doubling up. Double tight ends. Why not? It's the opportunities that count. And like I said, about the 4th or 5th round is when I discovered, hey, I can get a regular player. Hitting the wrong button. I'm sorry, guys. So I went and got, who would I get first? I believe it was Tutu. Atwell. Yeah, it was Tutu Atwell. The reason why I got Tutu is I told you that Cooper Kupp is coming back and he's going to be that guy. He's going to get over 100 receptions. Well, that leaves Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell at the number 2 and 3. They did draft a rookie, the Rams did, but do I believe they're going to be that rookie's going to be that impactful? No. Tutu's in the kick return game as well as a dynamic slot receiver who can do some things. Also on the outside, just run right by him. And Stafford's arm's better, so he'll get it to him. I followed that up by getting Deuce Vaughn. Now, you might say, why get Deuce Vaughn? All your running backs got bye week 7 because I also draft for bye weeks as well. I might not get a player because I got the same bye week. But then again, I might get him. I plan to drop Jerome Ford. I did drop Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon was one of the other players I had. I dropped him already. But Cam Akers, Jamal Williams, I think would be decent fill-ins in week 7. I think Jamal Williams is going to have a healthy role in New Orleans, and I think Cam Akers is going to be the back in Los Angeles. Will that change? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But for now, he's a starter. He was on the team already. I'll keep him. With that being said, I followed Deuce up with – I wasn't happy with the receivers, so I got Tim Patrick, who's coming off of injury, but clear number 3 unless somebody else steps in and takes that job. And after him, with the last pick, I got a better kicker in Young Ho Ko. I could make fun of that name, but I'm not. I'm on LinkedIn, so I cannot do that. I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to get in trouble. But Young Ho Ko. So, and I will be dropping several players because I have to get down to the roster max. And I have a trade offer. We're going to see what that trade offer is in a second. But next year, those are my picks. I don't know the position yet because obviously the season hasn't completed. But you get 6 picks. 6 picks. Let's see what the trade offer was. Shall we, ladies and gentlemen, read off here? Let's see what the trade offer was. Okay, trade offer. Show me what it was. Am I missing it? Oh no, I gotta hit review. My bad. Let me review the trade. Do I gotta go up? Do I gotta go down? What in the world? What's going on, Pepe? I mean, people. Bear with me. I am trying to see. Maybe I no longer have a trade offer. I don't know. I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. You see it right there. It says trade offer. I'm looking for it. I don't know where it went. I guess I'll see it when I see it. I guess. I don't know. Is it down here? It is not. The players I put on the block. I put Sky Moore. Yes, I'm willing to trade Daniel Jones. You say he's the highest one on your list. Well, yeah, by the scoring, he was the highest one over Justin Herbert. But I don't believe Daniel Jones is going to repeat his year of productivity. Oh, okay. Here are my trade offers. Here they go. I sent that trade offer. Well, no, this was sent to me by Stack. Stack offered me Adam Thielen for Daniel Jones. I'm not going to do that. Daniel Jones is worth more. I sent the counter. I want a third round pick, and I want Adam Thielen. You can have Daniel Jones. Right? Stack sent that offer. I think he's worth more than a fifth round pick. Stack also trying to send me all these other picks. Right? I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. But this one, I think this is new. I don't know. But it was a no because it was a trade conflict. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what those trades are. I'm going to actually decline this trade. I guess I can't do it here. I don't know. Go to trade review. Or should I counter him? I'm going to counter him. He wants Daniel Jones. I want Adam Thielen to move up, but this is his team. I would get Isaiah Pacheco, but it's not going to, I know he's not going to budge on that. I know he's not going to give me CeeDee Lamb or Waddell. I was thinking about DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore, but I didn't think he would give me a draft pick with him. So from there, I don't need anything else from him. He doesn't want to give me a 3, and I know he doesn't want to give me his 2. His 4 is gone. I really don't want a 5. Adam Thielen is the number 1 receiver in Carolina. Is it worth sending Daniel Jones and getting a 5th round pick in Adam Thielen? I wish I could see your comments right now because that's my receiving core is not that good, but it's not that bad either. I really don't want Daniel Jones because I'm going to go with Watson and Herbert all year. But also got Anthony Richardson as my backup. I'm banking on the fact that he's going to be the week 5 starter. That's why I'm willing to get rid of Daniel Jones. Wipe out. So Cooper, Debo, man, who's going to be on number 3? That's why I need a number 3, y'all. I would go for Michael Thomas, but I don't know if that Bama's going to play. And he might try to drop him. So what I'll do is, he's probably going to give me his 5. He's probably going to give me his 5. I'm going to press the button, y'all. I'm pressing the button. Let's go. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. If he's on, we'll get a response. If not, no problem. But it's interesting. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. That's life, and that's how it is. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Apologize on behalf of my co-host who didn't even stick around or didn't have the patience to hear where I was going with my stuff about Jim Brown. But it is what it is. We will address that at a later date. But I want to thank you all. Look forward to giving you more information. Next week, it's Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy, be safe, barbecuing, whatever it is you're going to do. Next week, I plan to probably give you my round 2 of fantasy drafts, because the plan is to lead you all the way up to my IDPs, my offensive player breakdown, my defensive player breakdowns for IDPs all season, all summer, and sprinkle in there some of my offensive rankings. It's interesting. I'm not gonna, bore you. I love interaction, so please jump on board, give a comment, or if you want to be a part of it, just let me know. I have no problem bringing you on. Just understand, if you come on, you gotta be prepared to have thick skin and deal with the criticism or the comments that are gonna come from me and from the audience. If you can't, then I'll ask you, hey, you don't have to stay, and I might even boot you. But it's all about being open and able to deal with more than just your view. So that's why it's, for Fantasy Sports Politics, it's variety. Variety is one of the tenets of Fantasy Sports and Politics. I'm going to give you variety. Some people don't like variety. Some people like their own thing. It is what it is. All right. With that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in and look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully, it'll start and finish on a good note. That's the plan. But this intro is exactly antithesis of the show. See y'all next week.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You want to talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef.